Hey guys, October is just around the corner, and this means also that the yearly Inktober, Artober, or how I like to call it, Plastober challenge is going to start. Because I will have, for the fourth year in a row, I will have my own prompts list, which is called Plastober. And I want to introduce you to the list in this video and give you a quick look at the weekly prompts. Because one main difference between the official Inktober list and mine is that Plastober has weekly prompts, which will give you kind of an overarching topic for each week. And I like this idea because it focuses on different aspects of making art. So the first week will very much focus on coloring. And then we will have another week which is focused on storytelling, for example. If you're still unsure if you want to take part in any kind of Inktober, Plastober, whatever challenge, this year, I can really recommend it to you because a couple of years back, I was still trying to find my niche. So I had already my visual style or direction I wanted to take my visual style, but I felt like I still needed to really find the niche for my personal voice, for my visual voice, And taking part in these challenges is like a fast track of getting better, It's like compressing month of practice into just 30 days because you draw so much and you exchange with other artists. So because you're invited, of course, to review and to give feedback to other artists who are taking part in the challenge. And it's this experience is condensed and it's very intense, I know. And I can only encourage to not burn out through these days, these 30 days, if you feel like it's too stressful for you. But it is a chance to incredibly improve in a very condensed time frame, And my personal growth has been crazy from taking part in Inktober and my own Plastober list, actually. So let's take a look at the prompts for the first week together. Actually, it's starting with a warm-up because the first day of October is on a Sunday this year. And I like to have the weeks as actual kind of calendar weeks. And so I have a little warm-up, which is Horizon. And then in week one, it's the weekly topic is opposite hues. Let's start with the warm-up though, the Horizon prompt, because of course it's the first prompt of Plastober. And this doesn't come with any kind of overarching topic or so you can actually just do what you want. And usually I have my sketchbook here when I do these prompts, and I always try to find my picture idea within one page. I collect some inspiration and take some notes. And then as this challenge is also for being quick about finding your ideas, I try to compress the concept phase on like collecting ideas on one of these sketchbook pages. This is Paper by WeTransfer, the app, by the way. And then I try to really kind of have my idea I want to do. And for day one Horizon, I have to admit the word or the prompt Horizon isn't that easy because we're starting with something that isn't an object or something, So, for example, like what did we have here? We had shell, or we had, well, what do we have here? Priestess. We had lamp. So these are quite specific objects, and Horizon is a bit more abstract, and you have to interpret it your way. I know this isn't an easy start. I don't know if it was a smart decision to start with this. I hope it doesn't throw you off because there will be stuff you can do with Horizon. And well, the first thing that comes to mind is that you have like some kind of environmental scene where you have a horizon in the back and you actually see a horizon in the picture. I would suggest, I think that's a great idea, but I would suggest to not like start a scene that is kind of super complex with like vegetation and then there's a city here and whatever. Because for day one, I would start simple, or at least try to stay simple. So let's think about something else that you could do. Maybe something environmental, probably. But what I think is probably Horizon. What comes to mind for me is something like a ship, probably. I collected some images before, so I was cheating here a little bit. I will add these as inspiration, but this is kind of the first thing that came to my mind, is because if I think about ships and sailing and stuff like that, I always have these sea and the horizon of the sea in mind. And an environmental piece like this is, of course, much less work because we have one more detailed objects, and then you have more a very simple surrounding. So this is definitely possible to do in the first day. So look at this here, for example, as inspiration for this. So this is perfect for horizon, where you can see an actual horizon. But I also want you to think around the corner a bit. You do not always have to take a very obvious choice, you know? So when I think about sailing and the sea and etc., it's definitely possible to do, for example, a character. So if you want to practice a bit of character design, let's have a sailor actually as a character. So you have this guy here is really nice, like looks like a more modern sailor. This one here is probably a bit of a stereotype kind of guy, but you could definitely have someone who watches through binoculars and is on a ship. And I wouldn't even mind if you do not see a horizon in the back. Just do the character, a character sheet, for example, and it's inspired by the word horizon. That's great. I also had another idea that I think personally would be my favorite to do, because I didn't do fan art in such a long time, and I would probably go for this kind of horizon, Horizon Zero Dawn, or Horizon, what was the second game? Forbidden West. Yeah, right. So this is Aloy, if you don't know her, Aloy from Horizon, from the video games. I would probably go for a character portrait of her. And she's from the game that's called Horizon, and it's perfectly fine to have her in there as well. All right, so now that we have had a look at the first prompt, let's start with the first weekly prompt, which is starting on October 2nd with opposite hues. So the whole week will be under the topic opposite hues. What does it mean? It starts with some color experiments for you. And for each of this week's prompts, I want you to use a complementary color palette. Complementary colors means that it's two colors on the opposite side of the color wheel. So we have the color wheel here. This one's actually explained in detail in my current lines book that I'm crowdfunding on Kickstarter. So I'm putting the link in the description so you can check it out if you didn't see it already. And the book will have a couple of color guides, and explaining the color wheel and explaining contrast and building palettes is one part of it. So maybe that was is the reason that I chose a color-based topic for the first week. Complementary colors are, for example, this blue, and then we switch over to the other side of the circle, the color wheel, and this orange or this yellow. So we have basically lots of different. Oh, that looks muddy, huh? Let's give it a bit more brightness. So we basically have a yellow like this, and then we have a blue like this. So what's the special thing about complementary colors or complementary contrast? It's if you build up a palette with this kind of contrast, you will always have a very strong pair of colors that will give a vibe to your artworks. It will add attention and it will add interest, and you can play with it to put the eyes of a viewer on a certain part of your image, you know? It's very strong, it's very eye-catching, and so compared to a monochrome palette like this, for example, if you have an analogous palette like this, you see these colors are very close to each other on the color wheel. While as if you add to this pink, a green on the other side, you see that there's a huge tension building up between these two. And I want you to explore these kind of contrasts. It doesn't mean that you have a palette that is 50-50. So you don't use like 50% of this pink and 50% of this green, but I'd advise you to play, for example, if you choose a pink. I mean, it's not my preferred choice, but maybe you like this pink. So try to use some desaturated versions of it, some with lower brightness. So you build up this palette, for example, with these pinks, and then you have spot colors where you want to put your viewer's eye, but like in a ratio of maybe 80-20 or something. So that's what I would advise you, because it makes it easier to find the right spots to use your main color and then your spot color. And we have several prompts, of course. You don't need to work like that. So if you like to use the prompts with whole different colors or with no colors at all, if you just do ink drawings, or if you're a photographer and you do black and white photography, of course, totally ignore this. That's totally fine. But if you want to come with me and explore these hues, then I'm absolutely sure that you will benefit from it and that you will learn lots of things about colors in this week. And you can really do anything you want. You can sculpt, you can draw, you can do photographs, you can use AI if you want, as long as it's not just any kind of Midjourney pics that you take straight from Midjourney and post them, because that would not be really cool. So what kind of prompts do we have in this week, actually? So we have the first one on the October 2nd is mirror. Then we have star, loud, jewelry, boat, and feather. Oh, we have the boat again. I already had the ship and the boat thing earlier, but it's fine to draw a boat again, right? So we have a nice mix of more specific words like, or prompts like star, maybe, although you can interpret star in a very different way. Jewelry is, I think, is very specific, boat and feather as well. Whereas mirror and loud are probably more on the broader side when it comes to interpretation. Let's open up another sketchbook page and think about maybe mirror for a bit, so you can just learn about my way of thinking. So we have day 2. This is really just live thinking out loud now, because I don't know what will result from this. Maybe it's total bullshit. Well, we will see. So we have mirror. And what you can do here, you can, of course, go for very specific, a very specific kind of direction. So you can draw maybe an old-fashioned mirror. Maybe you have a little funny face in that, but I mean, whatever you want. And you have kind of this kind of Victorian mirror thing, or something that just looks beautiful. I think this is the very easy way to go about this, and the absolutely fine way as well, because it's about quickly coming up with ideas, right? Because you only have 1 day per prompt. And when it comes to coloring, I think what you could do here is color the whole mirror frame in the same color, and then add probably a strong complementary contrast to the inner. So you have this, I think this is perfect for adding this contrast and add a probably surprising feature or a surprising aspect to this drawing that will also be a bit of a story on the storytelling side. Maybe you see something unexpected in the mirror or something else. I'm also thinking about probably, I don't know, maybe if you want to go for character design, you could have like twins or something. I mean, does that make sense? Or someone looking in a mirror, like someone standing in the front of a mirror and looking at himself. And then you always have this nice chance, or this nice opportunity to work with colors here as well. I mean, with character design, what I would really love is maybe a character standing here looking innocent, and then there's like a devilish version, or an idolized version of the character here in the mirror, with a whole different color setting, and you have this surrounding of the scene, and this is all like blue here, and then we have this red kind of inside of the mirror that is really looking kind of maybe spooky, or at least, I mean, it's October, right? It's spooky season, so that would be really cool. I could see that very much. But also, I think twins maybe are a cool idea. Maybe we have someone standing, that's the water again, someone standing at the water looking inside, and then there's a reflection, mirror reflection. That would work well with isometric drawing as well, by the way. And yeah, that's some ideas I had. I think this one here is really strong, but also it could be a bit more complex. So depending on how much time you want to spend on this and how much time you can invest here, this is probably could be a bit too complex, but you never know. I mean, you can do it with a very simple style and it still could be a striking concept. So that's my kind of way of thinking here. I think it's always great for Plastober or Inktober if you have like one easy way of doing things like this one, and then they have one complex, and you can decide before you start, like, do I want to go the complex route, or do I want to just spend an hour and you just do an ink drawing of a mirror, and you'll be good because you made some art on this day. And every day you're doing art, if it's just 30 minutes, maybe if it's just 15 minutes, I don't know, like you did something, you made something, and you had a creative spark that you turned into something. And the great thing about doing these challenges is, even if you can't finish a piece on a certain day, you have in your sketchbook a concept for a piece that you can pick up maybe, I don't know, next year or someone. Someone, is that a word? Sometime next year or sometime. And it's like you have a whole sketchbook full of stuff that whenever you don't know what to draw next, you just go back to your Inktober, Plastober sketchbook, and there's something in there for you that you can start off with. So this is one aspect. There's just only positive stuff about that. And one last positive stuff before I stop this video and upload it to YouTube is you can win, of course, if you post your Plastober drawings with a Plastober hashtag, Plastober23, to Instagram, and also post it to Discord if you want. You can win a graphic tablet, a pen tablet from Huion, because Huion is sponsoring this year's Plastober, and I have a Huion Canvas 12 screen tablet for you to win. And every post, like every day you post something like under the hashtag and take part in this day's prompt challenge, is a ticket to win this in the lottery, kind of. So next time I will be more prepared, and I will hold the tablet in the screen, in the camera. I don't have that here right now because it's in the basement. But yeah, I will do this next time. All right, guys. I think that's all I wanted to say today. I can't wait for your takes on the prompts. Really, honestly, it's everyone posting something. It feels special because you are taking part in my challenge. Honestly, it feels great. I'm really looking forward to this. If you have any questions, please put them down in the comments. And if you want to learn more about how I find ideas, I have a couple of videos. I'm trying to link these somewhere here or here. You can watch them and see how I develop ideas and turn them into artworks. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Next week, I'm going to be up with the next video for week 2 of Plastober. Have a good one. Ciao.